So let's talk about how EPCs are influenced by your sales funnel. Now, there are going to be two elements that you're going to remember when you're creating your front-end offer, right, as well as your upsells. You and I have to make sure that whenever we're creating our front-end offer, we really need to do this. And this does not come natural. If you want to try to influence your EPCs and you want to try to make sure that your sales funnel does as much as it possibly can, you're going to need to make sure that you try to do your sales funnel before you create your product. And that's counterintuitive because it's going to help you to answer the right questions about your front-end product with an eye toward what you'll create for the back end, right? So what do we mean by that? You also want to make sure that you stick with the same theme throughout your product funnel. So let's take a step back here. When you start out creating a product, what typically happens is you have something that you're trying to show someone how to do, or you're putting together some kind of software program, or you're putting together some kind of content package. And what happens is, you'll get to a point and you'll say to yourself, maybe what I need to do is I need to break this up into two pieces so that I can give people so I can have an upsell for people to buy. And really, you want to start thinking about that even before you start creating and not after, right? It's almost too late to start thinking about a sales funnel once you have started the creation process, because you're going to have to think in a logical pattern. I'm going to tell you what that logical pattern is here. The other things we're going to have to do is we're going to have to stick with the same theme throughout our product funnel. What happens is when we stick with the right theme, in other words, the person who buys the product, they bought the product for a reason, right? Maybe the theme of our product was, I'm going to make it easier for you to be an authority in your niche. Everything in your product funnel then has to help that person to do that. If your theme is, I'm going to help you to earn higher CPA commissions, then everything in the funnel must help that person to do that. If the theme of your product funnel is, I'm going to help you to use content, I'm going to help you to use PLR to make more sales, then everything in your funnel has to be able to do that. Everything in your funnel must lead to that goal. So everything on your funnel has to be onto the same theme, and that's really one of the things you can do to make sure that your sales funnel is going to be consistent. For example, you're going to be solving a problem with webinars, and your upsell should not only focus on the word webinars, but also the same problem. So in other words, here's what happens. Let's say that we have a webinar product. Typically, people will put together a sales funnel, right? And in some cases, the second part or the third part of the funnel will be about webinars, but will not necessarily help the person toward the goal, right? And so what we've got to do is we've got to determine what the goal of the funnel is, what the goal for the customer is, and everything in the funnel, whether or not it has the word webinar in it, must help the customer toward the goal. Now, if you get that, please put the number 2 in the question box so to understand what I'm talking about there. So the theme has to be the same. Now, when you first start creating, your first term is going to be how you're going to actually be able to sell the product. The front end product is going to solve the primary need. Right? It's going to solve the primary needs. Whatever it is that brought your customer to the goal, they're going to get that solved by the front end product. In some cases, you may need to split that into two pieces. In other words, you're going to split that into the basic for most users and then the advanced for more serious users. And you have to almost do that at the beginning. Right? Because if you do it after the fact, the break is not going to come naturally and it's not going to be logical. But if you do it knowing that you're creating a basic product in the very beginning and you're going to get someone to a basic goal, then when you create the back end or you create a more advanced version, you will know that at the very beginning. The front end offer should always have mass appeal. It's going to be designed to get the maximum number of people to the particular door for a particular subject. And what you got to do is on the front end, you've got to show a lot of value, right? You've got to solve the primary problem. And you've got to then transition to the upsell and then link the rest of the funnel to that very first offer. Let's now talk about EPCs influenced by affiliate commissions, right? EPCs influenced by affiliate commissions. Now, our ultimate goal is going to be to make sure that offers portrayed honestly and competitively, knowing that JVs have choices over where they can and are going to be willing to promote. right? So we're going to try to influence the JVs to come and promote based on what we offer them. And so here's going to be the rule of thumb, right? Affiliates are basically typically looking for at least a $1 EPC, right? And again, that's not a hard and fast rule, but that's typically what they're going to be looking for. If you're there at a minimum, and your product is converting at least a $1 EPC, you're in the conversation. Doesn't mean that if you're not doing that you're not in a conversation, but in general, the affiliates are typically going to be looking at a $1 EPC. Does everybody get that? Right? So again, that's the watermark. That is a benchmark. Again, it's not a hard and fast rule, but it is a benchmark that will tell you whether or not someone's going to look at what you have and say, okay, you know what? This is going to be worth my time. Then also, as an affiliate, you should be thinking about that. Am I going to promote this product or not? Well, one of the ways that you can look at it and tell is if you send the same kind of traffic that the offer is promoting, right? If you send the same kind of traffic, what can you expect for all of the visitors you're going to send, right? You should evaluate that as an affiliate. But again, from a product creation standpoint, you're typically going to be looking at $1. And so the question is going to be how you can influence the amount earned from the affiliate perspective, right? So that's going to be the question. One of the things that you can do is you can increase the affiliate commission, right? So you can increase the affiliate commission from 50% to 100%. Let's go through a few numbers here. So any offers that are going to be less than less than $10, you should probably think to offer 100% commission, right? Again, what you're trying to do is influence the EPCs. You want them to earn more, and you want that to show up again as a product is going to be worth your time. So again, under $10, typically you should be offering 100% commission if you can. Right now, if you plan to launch an offer price lower than $7, you want to keep this in mind. Your sales copy is going to have to convert extremely well. I'm going to tell you why here. Because you need to have an offer converting at least 14% in order to get the $1 EPC. Right? That's why, if you're going to go below $7, you've really got to be giving people 100%. And if you're going to go below $7, you've got to have something that's really, really, really going to convert. Right? You're going to have to convert at least 14% on the front end for people to see your offer at $1 EPC. Now, again, I know that was a little tricky in terms of the number, right? Okay, so Jim is asking what the 14% means. The 14% means that the number of let's say visitors, right? It's your conversion rate. So it's going to be the number of people who are buying versus the number of people who are coming, right? So if you have 100 visitors, 14 people are actually going to make a purchase, right? So that's generally what we mean by the 14%. So you've got to have a 14% conversion rate. So again, I mean, if you take a dollar divided by 7, you were talking about 14%. Now, and so one of the ways that we can increase that percentage of people who are going to buy is we can pre-sell, right? So in other words, before we actually have a launch, we can start telling people what it's actually going to be and how they can actually get it. So again, even if you don't want to pay attention to the numbers, right? One of the things that you and I have to try to do is we want to try to increase the level at which, increase the amount that people are earning, and we can do that by pre-selling. And what do I mean by that? Now, when you're seeing conversion rates at higher than 14%, one of the things that we can assume is that the traffic is going to be filtered, right? That we can assume the traffic is being filtered.